Ham Radio Prep is the fastest and most effective program to study for your ham radio license. Our complete multimedia course makes it easy to pass the ham radio license test, even if you're a beginner. Study at your own pace with 10 step-by-step lessons that are simple to understand and cover all of the official FCC questions. Take our course and you'll pass the exam on your first try or your money back, guaranteed. Begin your journey to becoming a licensed ham radio operator.
And there it is. Good afternoon. I show straight up 12 o'clock in Central Daylight Time. I'm actually in Alabama right now. I'm not in Texas. Thanks for joining the lunchtime live stream today. We got a good show for you. Appreciate everyone being here early. Special shout out to all the YouTube channel members. W0RHP's in there. I see WA7PBE. Pat's in there. Thanks for joining. Wayne, thanks for joining. Nick Smith, several other people up there. KI50EB, thanks for joining today. Thanks for your support of the channel and for being here in the chat. Really good to see you guys in the chat today. Ham Radio Dude and KMRD in there. I guess they don't have anything to do during the day. So thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate y'all being there too. So a couple of quick announcements real quick. I think most of you already know that this weekend is Ham Radio Day at the Gigaparts facility in Huntsville, Alabama. And that's why I've extended my stay. I was here last weekend to record the Ham Sci event. That went very well. It was a really fun event. Stuff that's way over my head. You guys will see that on the channel upcoming. And this coming weekend, Saturday, is Ham Radio Day. It's just kind of like a little mini Swap Fest, Ham Radio Fest there at their facility, at their store in the middle of Huntsville. I know that MFJ will be here. I know that R-Finder will be here, and there might be some other names like that you recognize. But it should be a fun show. I'm going to get the whole thing on video, and looking forward to that. I spoke to Gigaparts after my Sunday night live stream, and they had a couple of these Rig Expert AA1000s sell, but they still got 3 or 4 left, something like that. These are on discount right now, guys, and it's going to be really hard to find Rig Expert stuff before too long. So this is a Rig Expert AA1000 for $7.99. If you use the coupon code of JDROP, J like Jason, DROP, like drop the mic, JDROP, it'll knock $200 off that price. You'll get it for $5.99. Only a couple of those left before they're gone. Rig Expert, we're all thinking and praying about those guys over there, and they are in Ukraine right now. I'm told that they're kind of far away from the invasion and the bombs and everything, but it's moving in their direction. So I don't really have many details on that. Hopefully we'll be able to get some information on that soon. And then next month, I'm doing a giveaway of this radio that we're going to talk about today. Roger from R&L Electronics is gracious enough to provide me with one of these radios at a discounted rate. He paid for most of it, and I paid him a little bit for it. And he is basically donating that radio as a giveaway on my show for next month. So we're going to be giving away a brand new FTM, brand new in the box FTM-200, not this one I'm looking at today, but a brand new FTM-200 next month on the giveaway stream. So I will share that. That link's in the description below. I'll share it in the chat here in a minute because I don't have a Frank today. So that's all that's happening right now. So let's get started here. Go ahead and bring John on and put that there. No, that's the wrong screen. And hey, John, how are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Oh man, I can't complain. It's we had some really bad severe weather roll through here last night. Thunderstorms, wind, and rain. There was a tornado that was not too far from here, but it didn't affect us, so I can't complain about it. I'm not going to say anything really.
Good. Yeah, I heard Louisiana. A lot of areas got hit that don't normally get hit.
Yeah. I don't know how frequent they are in Alabama, but my wife's at home in Texas, and they got some weather out there for the last 2 or 3 nights. But no. There was tornadoes in the area, but nothing in my immediate area, so everything's safe at my home QTH. So that's good. I was happy to hear that, but so hopefully. All right, so we've got a brand new radio, the FTM-200D. I just got it in the mail right before I came on this trip. Actually, it arrived via UPS, which since it was shipped via UPS, I was suspect whether it would actually get here on time or not. But but it did. It got here. I put it in the truck, and I hit the road last Wednesday, and I haven't opened it up before today, but I've got it right here. Now, one thing I noticed is that there's 3 settings on the screen as far as backlight. There's low, medium, and high, and that's it. And quite frankly, it looked okay, except for when you point a camera in it, I had to adjust my camera a little bit. So those of you who don't plan on pointing a camera in front of it, you'll probably never notice it. I do like the fact that it's dark background with white text. I have my FTM-300 in the truck, and when I'm driving at night, I don't have to adjust that radio at all. But my ICOM with the white background and a very bright background and dark text, I usually have to turn the screen down because it gets so bright at night. The Yaesu, I don't have to do that at all. It's very easy, much easier on the eyes. So this one's very much like that as well. It's just something I noticed up front because I had to point a camera at it. So I wanted to throw that out there for sure. So tell us what's new about this radio. We'll go through the menu here real quick, and I'll just let you guide me and kind of take control of the wheel.
Well, so excuse me. A lot of people said, why did Yaesu release another single band, or it's a dual band, but single receiver, I should say. That's the proper term to say it, radio. And to be perfectly honest with you, it was because not a lot of people want a second receiver. Not a lot of people need a second receiver. They wanted it a little bit more simplified. If you are going to do the comparing of looks to the 200 and 300, they're very similar in looks, but you'll notice that, the VFO menu and memory right button takes place in one of the volume knobs, and then the band and the group button takes place of one of the channel selector knobs. But don't be fooled by this radio, because even though it's a single receiver, there's a way you can actually go and set it up that it acts like a dual receiver. So, I know all the FTM-100s people are going to go ahead and start flaming and stuff. It's like, hey, would this work? But yeah, with this radio, it's an addition to the line. It's not replacing anything. I've heard people say, oh, it's replacing the 400. It's already replacing the 300 and this and this and this. And first of all, I'd like to know where you guys come up with this stuff, because it's sometimes hilarious what I get in the emails. But then, no, it's not. It's an addition to the line that is out there because it fits some different purposes and fits some different needs on there.
Right.
And there's a lot of features in there. And like when we go through the menu thing, you're gonna start to see some of these things, but you can actually have things like people want, like APRS can actually be used on the B band without interrupting the A band. And there's the different coloring. People said, I want a different color. You mentioned it already. You can turn the display red, you can turn the display blue, you can leave it white. It's small, it's compact, it has the I kind of call it service grouping, but it's like the memory grouping that you can do on there. Has the SD card in the front, has the speaker, I should say the USB port in the front. But then also too, like I've said and told people, this radio, and actually the 300 will also too, but this will allow you to have a microphone connected to the front of the radio, as well as to the actual main radio, as well as actually have two microphones connected at the same time.
Okay. I did see that the microphone port is behind the screen, so it's not connected to the actual face. It's connected to the body behind the screen. When I plugged it up today, I did notice that.
Correct.
But
if you're using the microphone that came with it.
Oh, okay. Yes, and yeah, that's the one I have here. So where would you connect can you connect a second mic to the USB over here, or to the back of the radio?
Yep. So if you use the camera mic, which the FTM-100 did not allow to do that, you actually plug this right into the control head, and I'll kind of show it to you here. So you plug it right into the control head here on mine, and then when you key up.
Okay.
So everybody that's been wanting and saying, God, I wish the microphone had on there. Because I'll tell you what.
Okay.
I love you customers. I do. But seriously, left Twix, right Twix on this whole microphone and the head thing and everything. You have so many people that were like the 7900 to 7800, all those are like, we like the microphone on the head. And then people are like, we hated it. And then we went to the 400 and the 300 and all those that had the microphone in the body. And then everybody's like, we like that. No, we hate it. And it's like back and forth. So now it's like the 200 and 300. Guess what? You can have your choice. And that's the best part.
You can do one of each. Okay. So I don't understand folks that don't like the microphone on the head. I don't get that. But I mean, you got to listen to your customer base, obviously. So, okay. All right. Good to know.
Yep.
I don't have a camera mic because that works. Correct me if I'm wrong here. That camera mic is actually an HT mic that works on all of the previous, maybe not the FT70, but it work on the 1D, 2D, 4D, and 5D. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. Anything that has a USB port, except for, once again, the 70, it didn't work on there. And then actually the 100 mobile, it did not either.
Okay. So it'll work on the 300 mobile?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
The 300 control head has that same basically port functionality on there.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
it will work on the front on there also.
I'll have to pick up one of those and do some tinkering around with that. Okay, cool, good. Yeah. So these two buttons here that you mentioned, I kind of zoomed back out a little bit. This is the VM memory write button here. There's a knob here on the 300, and then the band. And does that say QRP? No. Grip? Does that say?
Group.
QRP or group. GRP. Okay.
Group.
I can't see it in the light here. So band and group button over here, which replaces the knob. It's two knobs on the 300 and or four knobs, two knobs on either side on the 300, one knob on either side on the 200. So good. Okay. Good. All right. So cool. What's next?
So the concept, I would tell people this. The concept is that a lot of the buttons on the front, you can do a lot from the front of the radio, and a lot of the buttons have a dual functionality to them. So that's the important part when looking at this radio. As time has gone on, we started to really take a look at how radios are performing and how people are using them in mobile environments. And that's why, like with the 891, we had sort of like a 3 menu layer system, buttons on there, then an F menu, and then deep menu. We kind of continue that same with the 300, the 6000, and now the 200. So for example, when you're using obviously the VFO and the memory button, on there, it's one push gives you in and out of VFO memory. Second push is going to go, or hold, I should say, is going to go ahead and do the memory write. The band group on there, when you are in VFO mode, is going to operate and do a certain thing as compared to doing it. So normally when you're in VFO mode, it's going to let you circle through the bands on there. But if you actually push and hold it, it actually allows you to go in and turn on and off the bands. So for example, if you don't want air, if you don't want the other bands on there that you want, or maybe you just want this as VHF only or UHF, you can now turn those on and off by pushing and holding that band and group button.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you go. So now no worry about aircraft. You don't want to do the other bands on there. And you really have 4 segments on there. And that's the thing people need to kind of understand. The air is just going to be aircraft. The VHF is just going to actually be like 136 to 174. UHF is going to be, I think it's 420 to about 470. And then the others is like that 220 megahertz range to receive only. And then like the 800 megahertz range, 700 megahertz range.
Right. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Well, that's definitely good information. I'll turn that back on just for the heck of it, but okay. Perfect. Cool. Okay.
Yep. And then as you kind of go down the sides of the button, it's kind of laid out for sort of that easy operation, of course, on there that, you know, you got the A and the B button. So you can basically turn, you know, swap between the bands quickly. And then people have always said, you know, well, I don't want to see the band. If you actually push and hold the AB button, that actually is going to turn off your sub band for functionality on there. So then that way you can have more data onto the screen. You can see, like, when you get into what we call an AMS memory channel, you can see what you have for a CTCSS tone or DCS tone in there. You can see what's in there for a DGID tone. You can see the name of the radio in there. Of course, the 200, like the 300, like the 400, is PDN capable, or we should say wires X capable. It's not just PDN. So you can use it to connect to an HRI 200. You can use it to connect with the SU39 or the SU40 cable on there. The menu system, I'll get into in a minute, because the menu system is really unique in how it works. Okay. And that's going to be one thing, but let's go to the PMG first. So PMG is amazing on this radio.
Hold it.
Yep. So what you do is when you hold it on the frequency, you're going to actually pull that into memory.
Okay.
But what a lot of people don't realize, and you see the P1 that's flashing on your screen right now.
Yes.
That means it's actually scanning your PMG frequencies. So a lot of times, like on the cam function and all those kind of things, people are like, oh, I got to program it in there and I have to keep looking. I have to keep looking. I have to keep looking when there's activity. No, not anymore. What you can do is you can turn on your scan in the PMG functionality, and now it will continually scan all of those frequencies. When it hears traffic, it will stop on that first one. It hears traffic. So when you're looking at PMG now it's better than dual watch. Now it's better than, you know, like dual watch is only 2 frequencies. The scan list is fine, but the scan list is, you know, meant for more, you know, frequencies or channels than just 5. But now when you're doing an event or something, this is what it is. Now, when I'm kicking back in the recliner chair here, I actually have a cup holder in mine. So I actually kind of made a good mount. I'll have to take a picture sometime and show people. But when I'm sitting in there, now I can listen to my local repeater. I can listen to the Fusion Simplex frequency. I can listen to my local VHF, and I'm not scanning the whole list of memories. I'm just scanning those certain ones.
Gotcha. I kind of missed, how do I say this? I thought that the FT5 would do like a passive scan when it was in PMG group, but it doesn't. And I was like, I wonder why they didn't add that. So I'm glad to see that this is in here. This is a good feature, I think.
Yep. And you can actually turn the scan feature off. It doesn't always have to be on there too. So if you are in PMG and you see the P letters flashing, then that means it's actually scanning. When your letters flashing, that means it's actually on there. Now, when it is all solid, P's on there, so like P1, 2, 3, 4, how many you have in there, when it's all solid, that means it's not scanning, and it's only going to be sitting on that PMG program frequency that you have selected in yellow.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, so like,
did I put it in there twice?
You put it in there twice. But don't worry, it's easy to do. Select the one you don't want, push and hold PMG again, boom, it's out.
Push and hold PMG again. There we go. Okay. All right.
That's simple.
So how do I get the P1 to stop flashing then?
So what you're going to do is when you go into the scanning on there, you are going to then push, and you can do it one or two ways. You can hit the PTT button on there, and that should stop it.
There it goes. Okay.
Yep. And now you're actually just on that one frequency.
Just on the frequency. Okay.
Yep. And then if you want to start scanning again, what you do is you actually push in the channel selector knob, and then that's going to go ahead and scan both of them.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's super simple. Right? And if anything, many people have said, wow, PMG is so easy. So, it's like, this is a great feature, because a lot of times people are like, why did you put PMG? Why did you put CAM in there? And that really kind of comes from what a lot of people have asked about for like tactical banks or those different things where you like, I need to group things on the fly, but I don't want to go through and edit memories and those kind of things like that.
Okay. Good. Hey guys, I know that some questions have come through. I don't have a Frank today, so if you put the word question in your comments, just type question. If you spell it correctly, it'll highlight it for me. I'll be able to see it a little bit easier. So, all right, go ahead, John. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. So that's the PMG functionality on there. The display functionality on there also works pretty well too. When you hit display on there, you can actually toggle between two different band scopes right off the back. So that's just pushing it on there. Now, when you are in memory, it's going to actually show and scope out your memory channels. But then when you're actually in VFO, it's going to scope out the channels. And I have to take actually look at it. I think I want to say it's 31 above and 31 below. I'd have to actually take a look right at the specs because I don't remember on there.
Okay.
So that will allow you to do the scope functionality on there, so you can kind of see and kind of weed out interference or see if there's there. And I'll do that sometimes too. If I'm not actually scanning, but I have the memory channels that I want in there, I sometimes will hit that display to see the activity on it.
Okay. Good. I just put it into it only has the one memory channel. I just took it out of the box, so I don't have any memory channels in it yet. Get it back to VFO and do that with it. Okay. All right. Explain again what PMG is, because there's a couple people in here who haven't seen our last two videos we did together, John, where we kind of explained that with the FT6000 and the 5D. But go ahead and give your spiel on that once more, please.
Well, I think we should probably answer a more important question. Why have they not seen your last two videos with us? I mean, that's me. But so PMG stands for Primary Memory Group. Some people call it Personalized Memory Group, and basically what it is saying. And I use it. The good case scenario is let's say you're traveling through an area and you're like, there's this repeater here, but you're driving in a car and you don't want to be horsing around with the radio or something, or you don't want to store in the memory and this and this and this. You can take that frequency, push and hold and write PMG to a kind of a quick group. Some people call it a scratch pad memory too. I've heard people say, but it's just, you can lock in 5 frequencies and they could be memory channels, or they can be VFOs, but they're right there kind of for your access, your availability. And it doesn't matter if it's a memory, if it's VFO, if it's UHF, VHF, even non-transmitting channels. If you're listening to a public safety channel, you could throw it in there too.
Good. Okay. All right, so Dominic wants to know about 2-meter standalone all mode in the future, and that's a great question. It's one I'd like to know. But guys, if y'all can limit your questions to this model, I mean, John, if you want to answer that, you can. If not, that's fine too.
All I could say is that we're always under research and development. I think over our track record at Yaesu releasing now, which would be 5 radios through this whole COVID time and stuff, I think it shows that we are in research and development. But people have to understand, we can't shotgun the research and development on multiple things. We have to focus on a few things on there. The FTM-100 was brought to end of life. There was really no replacement for it. This is sort of a replacement for it, but not directly, because it's more, you get more features with this radio over the FTM-100 any day on there. But good things are coming. I've said it a lot. People are like, oh, you always promise. Well, I mean, FTDX10, FTM-300, FTM-200, FTM-6000, FT5, you kind of see where we're going from there. So just hang loose, brothers.
That's right. All right, cool. Good. Okay, let's switch back over there. And we're still in the display mode, it looks like. Go back there. Cool. Yep.
And now for those who are big Fusion users and they want to see the repeat, they want to see, hey, where that the distance from a station is and everything like that. You got to remember, this is a small display. We can only cram so much into there. But if you push and hold the display, now what you'll do is you'll actually see the compass come up, and then you can actually see when you receive a Fusion signal that has GPS embedded into it, you will be able to go ahead and see it there and see, hey, here's the distance I am from that person. Here's where they plot on my little compass.
Okay, good. What about Bluetooth compatibility with commercial products?
So, contrary to popular belief, there is no standardization really on Bluetooth. I know a lot of people think that there is. There's not. Are you using Bluetooth, the regular audio profile only? Are you using 2.0, 3.0? When you start getting into those, the newer versions are incorporating the data into it, so you can control the stuff with your car. We use a simple Bluetooth audio profile. That's it. It's a simple Bluetooth. You can't program through it. You can't do anything else with it except pass audio. That's what we're going to continue to do for right now on there. And we know it works with ours because we only test with our equipment.
Right.
But we've had customers and numerous people say, oh yeah, it pairs with this and it pairs with this and it pairs with this. People said they've got to pair with it with their car, but they don't have any controller functions. Well, yeah, because there's nothing to really control or do functionality on there. So it's a basic Bluetooth profile. That's it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, you can't make it compatible with everything, but that's good. Okay. All right. Crossband repeat. It does. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. It does not do crossband repeat because it doesn't have dual receivers.
Correct. It does not. Okay. But as I tell people, let's be ingenuitive, hams. There is a data port on the back. And I have run other radios. You can connect anything into that data port on the back, which would include just audio stuff. So you can really kind of make your own crossband repeater.
Right. Correct. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Thanks for the questions, guys. We'll go ahead and move on. So the display shows the compass. That's where we just were. There we go. I don't have an antenna hooked up right now, guys. I'm in a temporary location, so I don't have an outside antenna here where I am. So we're just going through the menus today. We'll do some more videos later on with actual operation. Okay, good. So next down is a scan button, it looks like.
The squelch back button. So squelch is really nice. It's kind of acts like the radio's on there. You push it, will change the letters to squelch yellow on there.
Yeah.
And then you can adjust it from there. And then the back, it's kind of like the escape key. When you're in the menu system, oh shoot. If it's this and this and this, boom, you can just hit those really easy and go from there.
Okay. I'm a little bit blind in case you can't tell. I look like scan to me. So
I thought it was just, hey, you're on vacation. It was a great night.
No, it's not. No. It's just I'm looking at it here, and there's not good lighting in the room here. There's good lighting coming from this direction, but not behind me. So I've got it turned down because the screen. But it's all good. All right, cool. We're next.
So now we're going to dive into the menu system. Like I said, there's the buttons on the front that are hard programmed, hard coded. And then what ends up happening is that they have a momentary function and a push and hold function. But now when you start getting into the menu system, if you push it once, you get into the F menu. Now what that does is those are quick recall menu items. So some people may see it on there and they say, I don't want it. I don't want to see this. I don't need to have the scan stuff. Don't worry, folks. That's what comes with the factory. because what you're allowed to do then is just like the FTM-6000. What you can do then is you can actually swap out the menu items on the F menu. So when you push the F menu button once, it's kind of, for sake of a better term, like the FT5 and the FT3, where it pops up the little menu system on the screen. And then if you push and hold the F menu button, then you're going to go into the deep menu system.
Right.
All right. And what I will do is I will say the F menu system, once again, really quick. It comes with some of those things. So right away at the top, there's the keypad and then the home button. Those are in blue. Those are locked in place. You cannot change those whatsoever. And the reason that we leave the keypad on there is because if you push the channel selector knob, you can go to the keypad. You can, if you're in memory mode, you can actually enter a memory channel number. If you know you want to go to memory channel 105, you can do channel 105. Otherwise, you can actually go to the memory channel list and kind of scroll through it as a list of seeing things above and beyond there.
Let me see if I could clean that up a bit. Guys, this is really a beautiful menu, and you're not seeing it because my webcam kind of sucks. So let's see. Let's see if I can do that real quick. Nope. Here we go.
So for an example, let's say you don't want the automatic repeater shift, okay, or APRS. Let's say you're not a big APRS fan. There's some people who aren't. So what you could do to that APRS portion right there is you can go to it and then highlight that menu item. And then when you highlight that menu item, what you could do then is that you can actually then change it from the actual menu system on there. So if you hit it there, you're going to select the APRS menu system. And then what you could do is push and hold the button. When you go then and pushing, holding in the menu system, now what you do is select which one you want. So let's say you want to, I have like mine on here that I'm looking, the memory programming key. So I have menu number 27 highlighted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push and hold the F menu button again. So go ahead in there and push and hold F menu on your screen.
Push and hold F menu. Okay, I lost where you were for a second.
Yep. So go ahead and push F menu right now.
There we go.
And then now you're going to see that, hey, guess what? Now I can select whatever menu item I want to place. Once you select what you want, push and hold the F menu button again.
Is there APRS in here? Okay.
Yep, there is. You got to just kind of scroll through the whole menu system. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. It's actually pretty cool in there.
Okay. Oh, it had like a break in there, and then it.
Yep, and I'll explain how that works. That's even better about the menu system. It's absolutely amazing.
Really? Okay. Well, that's deep down in there. Sheesh. What number is it?
Group mode, keep going. I think it's like 120, 80s, 90s.
APRS. Oh, just APRS. 73. That's a perfect number. 73. Okay.
There you go.
So push, you said hold the menu again?
Yep, push and hold menu. Now what it does is it brings you back to that F menu. Now you simply select which one you want to swap out. And then when you select that one, all you have to do is then hit the actual channel selector knob, kind of that multi-function knob. And then what it's going to do, it's going to lock it right in there. And now,
oh, nice.
Yep. Now your F menu is completely changed to what you want.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was scanned before. I overwrit the scan menu with the APRS menu. So that's fun. So yeah, so you just figure out which menus you use the most and put them at the top. Huh, that's good. Okay. Yep. Awesome.
Now, if you go back into what we call the deep menu by pushing and holding that F menu button, you've kind of noticed it already. What we did is we grouped things together. So if you notice, you scroll all the way back up to number one. Number one is the display group, and you're going to tune that all the way to number 7. That's the last part of the display group on there. And if you then turn it to, let's say, number 8, you'll notice it changes to transmit.
Yeah, and you're seeing that at the very top, the black or gray bar at the very top says TX now. If I go to 7, it says display.
Yep.
So that's where we're seeing that right there. Okay, good.
Now,
good.
You want to go to APRS. You know it's way down in the menu button. Push the up and down buttons on your microphone real quick.
Oh, it pages down.
It pages through the different groups. Okay. Yeah, so it's going to take you to that first group. So if you know you want to get to APRS or whatever, you can go into that deep menu system and just arrow until it says APRS, and then you can tune up and down within those menu functions on there.
Gotcha. That's good. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Good. Perfect.
Now, this is going to be the next one. I'm going to actually get to this one here. I'm going to pull it up and tell you how to walk through it, because I think this is going to really, 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 really go ahead and make things. So what I want you to do is go to menu item 50, 50.
50. Okay. Okay. Dual receive mode. Okay.
Yep. So what you're going to do with the dual receive mode is you're going to highlight it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you change it, it's going to go and change from off to priority scan to AB dual receive.
Okay.
Now, this is where the people who are the APSers, the people who want to kind of have a, per se, a quasi dual receive radio, even though there's one receiver in there, you change that to AB dual receive, and then go down to 51, which is dual receive interval, and then change that to whatever you want. So it can go as low as a half a second, and it can go all the way up to 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Okay.
Now, what's going to happen in there is now when you go back out to your main display, so if you hit back, go all the way back out, and you have the AB up, it's going to go ahead and because you have your whatever's top band, the white highlighted, it's going to be your primary. But then whatever you have that interval set at, so whether it be half a second, 1 second, 3, 5, 10, whatever, it's going to sample that B band.
There we go. Okay, so if we go...
So, yep, so now if you flip it there, every 10 seconds, if there's traffic on the APRS channel that you put it on there for the US, then it's going to go ahead and it's going to receive that APRS traffic.
Okay. Okay.
Now, why is that important? Because now when you go into setting up your APRS stuff, what you do is in the APRS menu, you set it to transmit on the B band. And now what happens when you turn on the APRS? Well, let me put it this way. You have a couple options. You can have the A band, you can have the B band, you can have main, or you can have sub. So if you want to always do it on the sub, do it on the sub like I do, because then I can keep the APRS frequency on that sub band. It will beacon on there. And then if I need to go ahead and be like, oh, okay, well, you know, what traffic is going on or whatever, I can then change it if I need to. But now what this radio will do, the 100 did not. That's why it's not a replacement for the 100. It's better. You can now continually to beacon and transmit on the B band with your APRS while still using and maintaining the A band. Now, of course, if you're transmitting on the A band, it's not going to stop you transmitting and it's going to go and transmit APRS and that. But now it kind of offers that flexibility of saying, man, you know, hey, now I can run APRS and I can actually run a conversation at the same time.
Right. Okay. So how would I turn on APS to have it beacon on the sub band? Yeah, I like the sub band thing better, like what you said. That's how I do it too.
Yep. So what you'd have to do is you actually have to go back into the actual settings of the radio. So I'm going to look on mine here. APRS starts at, if I can actually go the right way, APRS is going to go ahead and start at menu option number 70 on there. So you have to go through and just kind of set it up like any other radio. You're going to have to put in your call sign. You're going to have to turn on the modem. You're going to have to, you know, your beacon intervals, all those things like that on there. But once you have that set up, the last, where is it at here? The last menu item is going to go ahead and be beacon transmit and beacon transmit select. So you can set it up that way. Or if you noticed when you hit that F menu, the bottom right-hand one was APRS. You can turn that on or off.
Yes. Okay.
And remember, there's two layers to this too. There's the modem being turned on, and then there is beaconing being turned on. And then under beaconing, you have regular or normal beacon every X amount of time, or you have smart beaconing. When it hits certain criteria, it will beacon.
Right. I have the smart beacon set up on my 300, which I have permanently mounted in the truck to like, there's some way, I don't remember how, it's been a few months since I did it, but I have smart beaconing set up to like it knows what speed you're going, right? So like if you're traveling slowly, it's not going to beacon real often because you're not moving that fast. So when the truck is parked, it's not going to go there and beacon a bunch of times in the same location. But when I'm moving 75 miles an hour down the highway, it will do that because I'm not in the same place now as I will be in 5 minutes and something like that. So that's kind of a neat feature. I like that smart beaconing feature. And
then and that's kind of that aspect of, you know, how the APRS is. It does have voice alert built in there too, so you can do some voice alert activities on there if you want to in the mobile on there. Some people I know run it on there with APRS. And just kind of that whole function of, you can do messaging with it also too. You can receive messaging. So if you're big into like SMS gate or whatever you want to do with the messaging, the capabilities are built right in there. It does not need an SD card, by the way. Some people have asked that. Does it need an SD card to store the messages received for APRS? And that answer is no, but it does if you're getting a Fusion text message.
Okay. Yeah, APRS texting, Fusion texting, two different things.
Yep.
Okay. All right. This might be kind of. I see the questions in the chat here, guys. Okay. I'm gonna get Scott's question first, and then I'm gonna ask Ben's question. And you might want to bypass Ben's questions for something later. But right now, Scott's asking. Hearing impaired hams are looking for radios that work with your devices. Could Yaesu compile a list of manufacturers that would work with your company's devices? That might be a tall order, but
we take a stance on there. At Yaesu, we do not test with third-party products or devices. There's no way we can. People always said, "No, you should do this and you should do this." Even if you call in our technical support, people say, "Hey, I want to interface XYZ into your radio. How do you do it?" We don't test with third-party equipment. We don't look at doing it. We would say contact manufacturers directly to do that on there. And people get mad at us for that, but if you really think about it, we kind of did a calculation. We would need 7 people, 365 days, working 12-hour days to literally test and go through compatibility for every single aftermarket accessory that's made. And we can't do that. It is a lot. I mean, and I feel bad because people call and saying, well, I want to interface, in this case, the Bluetooth headset. Will this one work? We don't know. I want to interface this data mode with one of your HF radios. Will this work? We don't know. We can give you some ideas on settings, but otherwise than that, we'll tell people, I'm sorry, you got to call the manufacturer of that other product. They're the ones that specialize in it.
Right. Okay. All right. This might be kind of a tall order here, but can you tell the main things, the difference between this and the 300?
Yeah. So I'll kind of do a little bit of a comparison. Both. This is in no specific order or anything like that. Obviously, 300 is dual band, dual receive. You have 2 receivers in there. So that's the biggest thing right off the bat. With the dual receivers, you can cross band with the 300 where you cannot with the 200. The 300 has the PMG functionality on there with it's more of an advanced PMG as compared to the 300. You can also change now with the 200, you can change it to red, white, and blue with the actual display on there. For that kind of functionality on there. Obviously, just a little bit of a different layout with the menu system and then the function menu on there. Otherwise than that, no. I mean, with the exception of the if you were to put tape or take off the buttons off the front of the head of a 300, where the upper left and the upper right channel and volume knobs are, you literally could not tell the difference between a 300 and a 200. It really isn't on there. And I know some people ask me, well, why did you do the 200 instead of the 300? And people have said the price is near it and stuff like that. Yeah. We don't unfortunately set the price. The dealer set the price on there. I'm sure that is probably going to go ahead and come down in time, as with everything does with technology on there. But it really is designed to kind of fit those that were a 100 user and wanted a little more functionality. They wanted a color display. They wanted a head that could be attached and detached in the body. But otherwise than that, not a lot of differences that are really at the top level surface between the 200 and 300.
Yeah. It seemed like, and the price thing is I think why a lot of people have something to say about it, because it's less features than the 300, a few, and but we just learned that there's actually a few more features than the 300 because the PMG is more functional and has color displays and whatnot. And it's just newer. It's just a newer design than the 300 is.
Yep.
But
I have a lot. Oh,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say there's a lot of people that are now looking at this as a dual band, as a Go kit. Instead of putting an expensive dual band in there, which are maybe not going to use that much on there, they said they'd rather have something that is, easy to use, one receiver on there, really kind of minimal for the operation. But that's kind of really a big market that a lot of people are saying, I'm going to get the 200 for this.
Yeah. Makes sense. That makes sense. Well, that was like when the FTM-6000 came out. Some people were complaining, why doesn't it have fusion? And you're like, well, because a lot of people don't want fusion. They want a true dual band analog radio, which you don't see much anymore these days from the big three manufacturers, especially on the high end gear. So I think that filled a void that we didn't see as well. So good deal. Okay. All right. So do we want to go to another menu here, or what's next?
Sure. So once you're in that menu system, and then once you have the, like I said, the dual band, you'll see, like I said, the functionality is pretty flowing on there when you get into that menu system. The biggest thing I tell people is just play with it. See what it does, because like for me, if I know I'm going to be doing a lot of CTCSS searching or stuff like that on there, I like my F menu system on there. I think that's pretty big for me. So I keep my tone select in there, because then I could turn on my tone, and then I could simply go down to the tone in the F menu, and I could start scanning my tone on there. So for me, that's more of an important functionality on there. I'm just trying to turn into mine here real quick here to see an analog channel. So on mine, kind of, hopefully you can see it there, but as you see, mine is there. I like the tone selection. It's kind of blurry there, I apologize, but that tone selection there. But I'll kind of show you if you do it on yours. When you go to the tone level there and you hit the button to put it into the alter mode. So when you notice on the bottom there, when you can change it, it goes to orange. But for me, when I want to do tone scan, now when I do tone scanning, now I can go ahead and go into the function and tone scan if I need to do that there. If I need to set up that scanning function, if I want to do something in there. Even better yet, now that I have it on there, okay, I shouldn't say tone scanning, but quick tone selection, I just change it, and then, okay, yep, that's the tone that I need. I lock it into place, and I go from there. If I need to do tone scanning, then I can go deep into the menu system, and then once again, go to the signaling function. And if I don't want to do that, I could just hop through them all.
You're in the main function menu right now, right?
Correct. Yep. I'm in the main function menu, because then when you're in the main function menu and you go into signaling, that's where you can select your different type of tone squelch frequencies to use. And then that will allow you to then do what you need to do for that scanning function on there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, the other thing too is this radio does, people have asked, what about tone signaling, since we're kind of mentioned tone signalings. This does offer kind of a wide variety. So you can do CTCSS encode or CTS encode and decode. It does DCS encode decode, DCS encode only, and it does split tone capability, as it can transmit on CTCSS and receive on DCS, or vice versa. It does not do the CTCSS split tone. Some people have asked about that and know it doesn't do that on there. One other thing I'll go and mention, and you kind of said it in the menu system, but the functionality of this microphone is actually pretty interesting on it too. So what's going to happen is that come right from per se the factory, as we say, you can select your A and your B bands right by pushing the A and the B button. So if I want to use the B button and I'm on the A side of the radio, I just push the B on there. Boom. Now I switch back and forth between the two. If I want to quickly change my squelch, I can push the C button on the microphone, and it will pop up what the squelch button does on there. And then I can actually set it using the up and down arrows. So if you're driving, you don't have to take it off your hands off the road or anything like that to play with the radio. If I hit the D button, the D in this case is going to mean display, and then that will pop up your scope. And then just like the display button, if you push and hold it, it will pull up your kind of, how you want to say, for your fusion type of display and graph on there.
Yes.
So it's interesting because a lot of the buttons get mapped on there. Now, one of the buttons I will tell you, we'll start down on the P1, P2, P3, P4.
Okay.
P1, if you push it once, you're going to toggle into GM, or group monitor. So that's going to be where you beacon, sort of like some people have said, sort of like kind of like an APRS to a degree for fusion. Yeah, kind of on there. So you can push P1 to go there. If I push and hold P1, now you go into your DGID select mode. So if you're using a system that needs DGID, or you're accessing different things, you can easily get into there. And then once again, everything basically by the microphone on there. If you push P2, You can switch. You can change it to switch a couple different things. You can have it switch between home. It's programmable in the menu system. P3 actually will switch between your modes of operation. So FM, whatever you want to do, FM, DN mode, VW mode, those kind of things like that on there. And then finally, P4. I believe P4, and actually I take that back. Now that I said that, I think I'm probably mentioning what I changed mine, but one of them will put it into like weather scan for the US. That's
what P4 does.
Yep. So for my
brought up WX01.
Gotcha. See, for me, I wanted to put scan on there. So I changed my P4 to scan. Now, yes, it's going to upset a lot of people, but here it is. If I wanted to do it, I have P4 programmed. I hit it. I put it into memory scan on there. So that tells me I'm in memory scan. If I was to go here and then I would go back to VFO and then I go there, whoop, I can go ahead and do that. And now it puts it into VFO scan.
Good.
So that it's nice how those buttons are mapped and everything like that on there, because not a lot of people like realize that you want to kind of go and do those functionalities and those kind of things on there that people are like, well, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? Well, you can, and that's why it's designed that way to do that on there. I mean, that's kind of really kind of the quick view of it there. It's simple. It's not much, but it's a lot.
It is. Yeah. I mean, with the exception of the dual receiver, which again, not everyone needs that. I'd say this is pretty much a full featured radio. So, and my main concern now, you couldn't, again, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but on the FTM-100, which had APRS, you had to basically just put it on 144.39 and leave it if you wanted to effectively use it, and you lost your radio. You couldn't do both at the same time. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, the 100 did not have that feature in here, which is basically doing the A/B receive. Now, some people are saying it's dual watch, and it's not really dual watch because you can set it up to do scanning on the subband. You see what I'm saying? So there's that functionality between it all. So it's not, the 100 was not capable of this in any way.
Right. Correct. Okay, good. Yeah, but I mean, I like, to me, the screen looks bigger than the 300, but I haven't set it next to my 300 to see. But it looks like maybe it's just the way the form factor of the radio is doing. I don't know. But if I glance at this and then go out and look at my truck, I'm like, that screen is bigger, but maybe it's not. I don't know.
No, it's the same exact size. It does. I think it's a little misleading because of, and I kind of thought that too, but I think it's misleading because there's less channel knobs. Like there's no volume and there's no channel on there.
Okay. Maybe that's what it is. It's optical illusion. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so Steve is asking, is there going to be some software you can download for programming?
Yeah, so our ADMS software is going to be eventually coming out there. We wanted to get the radio out and get it into people's hands and stuff like that. We are working on the software. I don't know of an exact time, but usually the software comes out usually in per se a couple weeks of it on there. I believe RT Systems might have their software already out for it, so I'm not 100% sure at this time, but what they have. But we will be getting something out eventually, and it will be programmable via an SD card, or it will be able to be programmed via the SCU20 cable on there. So it just depends on what you do or what you want to use with it.
All right. Same question was asked about the FTM-6000 when John was on the channel for that, and same answer was given. So yes, it's the radio comes out first, the software comes later. So that's
and as a matter of fact, their 6000 software I think was like a week or two later after we were on the show.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. Okay. All right, Mikey's asking, can you download repeaters and use the GPS to search for a list nearby repeater when traveling?
No, our GPS in the radios are strictly designed to feed the GPS coordinates for fusion and the GPS coordinates for APRS. There's no mapping of the GPS data into memory channels or anything like that whatsoever.
Okay. Good to know. Good. Cool. Well, that was the last question I saw. Let me know if I missed a question in the chat, guys. He says, so my friend Hank is in the channel. He's like, man, these look better than ICOM radios. And I'm like, yep.
We'll allow that, Hank.
Yes. Yeah, we'll allow it. Yeah, we'll just leave that there.
Yeah.
So, oh, God. Okay, so here's one for you. I'm surprised Mike didn't ask that. Will software be compatible with a Mac?
We don't make it, but RT Systems, I believe, is compatible with it.
Okay, good. Cool. Well, cool, man. Yeah, this is a neat radio. I'm gonna enjoy doing some stuff with it. I think someone asked. Hold on, let me see if I can find that question. I saw it and then oh, there it is, right there. Okay, so Eric's wondering, does the radio have a user accessible TNC that can be used over KISS software like WinLink? Like I believe the 6000 has that, if I'm not mistaken.
No, so there's no, we don't have any, none of our radios have a TNC built into it.
Okay.
What it is basically it's, you can run APRS off of software algorithms, which this kind of functions as on there. There's no accessible TNC or anything in there, but all of our radios have the data port on there where you can do the keying and stuff like that on there. So you can use an external device. If there's a way to do it, you can set it up in Vox. Some people have done it with Vox and everything like that. There's so many different data protocols out there that realistically, if you were to put a TNC in the radio, if it wouldn't meet the needs of it, then people are just going to be upset. So we leave the data out. You take care of the data however you want to go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's what the I know it's a little bit dark, but that's what the back of the radio looks like there. Well, that's washes it out. So that right there is that's a blank. It looks like right there. That's the external speaker.
Yep.
The data port, is that the same data port and same cable that the 6000 and 300 use?
Yep, the 10-pin standard end. So the SCU20 cable is what it is for there right now.
Good.
And then and as you can see, it's very similar to the 300 chassis, but there's not a second receiver, so that's why there's no external speaker B port on there.
Right. Yeah, so single external speaker as opposed to the 300, but good. Okay. Perfect. Good deal. Well, hey, this has been great info, John. I appreciate you taking the time out on a Wednesday to share with us and let us know what's going on with it. It is going to be a fun radio to toy with. I'm still working. Did you ever get your All-Star done? Your All-Star stuff set up with the 6000? That's something I've been meaning to do that I haven't. I ordered the cable. I have all this stuff. I just never have put it together yet.
So I was playing with it, but then we decided to release another radio. So, and then of course, like Hamcation came up and everything, but I got some projects on there and stuff, but that's one of the projects I'm working on. So when you get to that, we should get together and talk about it.
Yes.
Here, and you know what, it's good to know about the 200 to 300 and even the 6000 stuff like that on there. When you are using the data port on there, when you get a core sense, it is not the traditional, which a lot of people think core sense or a receive detector will go from active high to active low, meaning it will go ground. It doesn't. It sits at a normal non-active state of 0. And when a signal comes in, it then will go up to plus like 3 to 5 volts on there. So when people are interfacing, keep that in the back of your mind, because most people are used to radio saying, okay, the voltage is going to be high, or the floating non-active signal is going to be a voltage, and then when it goes low, or when a signal is received, it will go low to 0, and then that's where people usually just run a wire from your core output to your PTT, and boom, life is good. But with the and this comes from the days of Packet, where Packet liked to see a core sense voltage coming out of the radio. So when you used to use like TNCs and stuff like that on there, you used to have to select, if it was plus active high or active low on there. A lot of the times they did active high, because then you were able to do more certain functionality on there. And then, but for this case, just like the repeaters are the same case with the 10-pin mini DIN on there. It goes active high. Now, lots of times it's not an issue, especially depending on the interface you're building and as a matter of fact, the reason I bring this up, because I used to interface my, I use a URIX for my All-Star, just because I'm lazy and I don't have time. Okay. But in that case, what I did is I interfaced it into my 400. I did the 300. I actually interfaced it directly into my repeater off that 10-pin DIN. And I always got to go and remember to switch the voltage off of there to make it go active high instead of active low. Otherwise, you're sitting there and nothing's happening. Your All-Star node's keying up, and then you receive a signal and stops keying. You're like, what is going on here? Am I going nuts? And then sure enough, that's what it is.
I see. Okay. All right. There was a question that came in that I forgot about, so I apologize for that, before the stream started. And I think I understand what he's asking about, but
it's a hard question. No.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Jason, if you won't get in too much trouble, which this is a person who doesn't know me, because I always say stuff that gets me in trouble. So That's one thing you have to learn about me. Can you ask him about the fragmentation between the 200, 300, and 400? The example is the way banks are set up in the radio models. Can a firmware update fix? And I don't know that there's fragmentation. I don't understand. I know the banks work differently, but I think that's by design. So I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah. So the 400 did not have banks at all or groups or anything like that whatsoever. And remember, you got people don't realize this. 400 has been out since like 2013.
Yeah, it's an old radio, but yes.
Yep. And it's maxed out on memory. It's maxed out on memory completely on there. So there's no way to be able to do any sort of memory banking and grouping. For a direct answer, I'll be honest with you, I can't really tell you. I know that they have memory grouping on there, but I'm we have it on our handhelds, but a handheld is different than the mobile. It's not, people just say it's the same thing. No, it's not really. I can't answer as to why they do or do not. I have been told that it's not possible because of certain things on there. And the 300 and 200 do have memory grouping on there. So you can group VHF, UHF, all that kind of things like that on there. But actually having something that says, hey, the banks are there, is this and this and this and this. Now, the next thing I usually go ahead and get yelled at a lot about is people are saying, well, it's just a simple firmware update. No, it's not. I mean, because let's face it, folks, if it was a simple firmware update and people wanted it, why would we not apply that firmware update?
Right. Yeah.
I know there are a few things that do prohibit it, but I don't think that is the exact answer and reason. But I can't say that because of NDAs, disclosure, company secrets, all that kind of stuff like that on there. Right. So, but yeah, it does not. Yes, you are right. The 200, 300 are similar with the memory grouping. The 400 doesn't have anything on there.
Yeah. The 400 was the first fusion radio.
Correct.
The 100 came out shortly, not too long after that. But the 400 and the FT-1D, the little handheld HT, which I still have my FT-1, were the first fusion radios ever. So they had, there you go. That's it right there. Yep. And I guess the original 991, the prior to the 991 Alpha, the original 991 came out. Those all came out roughly about the same time.
Correct. Yep.
But think about how long we've had fusion in the marketplace and how many radios we've had since then. And the 400 is like the dinosaur in the fusion world. I mean, it's not as old as like a V70 or an FT-8800, of course.
Right.
But it is the oldest fusion mobile radio out there, so it's not going to have some of the features. And quite frankly, if all of the newer radios had the same features as the 400, I'd be disappointed. I mean, like there needs to be some advancement and progress made, and that's exactly what they've done from the 400 to the 300 to the 200 and the 100 in there somewhere. Every radio has more advanced features, so it only makes sense to me that the 200 has a lot more options and features than the 400 did. But even though the screen is smaller,
that's kind of the trade-off. The 400 is a true touch screen, and we're not talking capacitive touch. We're actually talking like physical touch,
right?
Like the original days of like Palm Pilots and all those things. And actually, for me living up in northern Wisconsin, I actually like that because if I'm wearing gloves, I can still operate the radio, or I can use an actual stylus if my fingers are too small on there. But as people are saying, hey, I don't care about a touchscreen, but I still want color. Okay, fine. You want a kind of a segue, then that's the 300. I don't need the extra receiver. That's the 200. And we're trying to make the line like kind of for everybody. And that's another thing. People say, well, why would I go with the 200 over 300? Because maybe you don't like fusion. I mean, some people don't like digital, but they want something more than the 6000, which does not have a color display and doesn't have an SD card and stuff. So that's kind of your trade-off.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of options out there. I mean, you can definitely Yeah, and guys, and I've said this before on multiple videos. When a brand new, and this is true across the board, this is not a Yaesu thing. When a brand new radio comes out, it's priced up here, and give it a few months, and the price will drop. So it's people are talking about how the 300 and the 200 are about the same price. You get a lot more. You get dual receiver with the 300. Not untrue, but when the 300 came out, it was higher price than it is today.
Correct.
So,
yep.
So kind of the same thing there. That's just kind of how the market works. That works true for everybody.
It does. And let's face it, Hamvention's around the corner.
Yes.
I mean, we got another month, 2 months, maybe month and change,
Yeah.
And there's always going to be people that are going to put on specials, whether it be a special by us directly or whether it be a special by the dealers. There's always going to be the special that's going to come up in there. So, right. I mean, it's just, it will get out there and stuff. And, as one person told me at Hamcation, because they were talking about the 6,000 and the 300 and everything like that, because the
Yeah.
200 was released right afterwards, which everybody was upset about, but oh well.
That's right. That's right.
Well, we didn't want to steal the limelight for Hamcation. We didn't want to be like, oh, look at us, we're the radio. What would be like the Housewives of Orange County, the radio manufacturers of Orange County. There you go. It's in Orange County.
Orange County. It was in Orange County. Yeah.
But it was one of those, we didn't want to steal the spotlight from Hamcation because people were getting back there. So that was what we thought was the fairest thing and do, and then give this fair share on it. There'll be stuff that'll be out there. It will come down.
Sure. Okay. All right. Last question. Then we're going to let John go. But is Yaesu planning to go to CPAC this summer?
So actually, that's a good question. So we are slowly getting back into the schedule of things on there. We do have things that we have to internally look at. As I told people, right now we are planning on going to Hamvention. We are planning on going up to CPAC as things sit. Of course, things do happen if people get sick or stuff. We don't want to compromise our internal operations at our office to do a show. And I know that sounds kind of mean, but let's face it, if we're impacted in the office, it's more of a global impact.
Right. No, that totally makes sense. You need to take care of your employees, of course.
Yep.
So,
we are planning to be in Huntsville down in Alabama, there. So in August, because that's where a boy from Wisconsin always wants to be, is August in Alabama. Just get off the plane. You're like, oh God.
I know it. Yeah.
And then we have a few other shows we might be doing. I'm slowly getting back out onto the circuit. Some of the shows and specialized trainings that we had scheduled in what we call BC days before COVID. We have that scheduled up so that we're going to start to see a little bit more of that on there, but we're taking it step by step and going slowly.
Good. Excellent. All right. Well, guys, thank you for joining the stream today. These are always fun streams. I love doing new radio streams and getting the information out there. I'm going to post this one to QRZ, so that's always an iffy situation, but I will do it. So John, once again, thank you for your time today. Appreciate your willingness to come on and tell everyone about the new radio, and I think it answers a lot of questions. And we'll get you back on later to do. Definitely want to do the FTM 6000 and All-Star thing. That's a great idea.
Perfect. Yes,
I'd like to get together with you on that. But we'll get you back on the show about some new stuff
See,
later.
I told you it's waiting. I have the cable built. I have right here. The cable's all built up. I just literally haven't had time.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm the same exact way. So, all right, guys, 73 to all. Thank you for joining the chat today. Appreciate y'all being here, and hopefully we'll see some of you in the Huntsville, Alabama area. We will see you at the Gigaparts show this weekend. So, y'all have a good one.